Does YG accept global trainees? If I were to rank the categories in terms of the most favorable category to the least favorable category, it would have to be, is YG truly a bad company? And if so, why do they keep making these mistakes that continue within generations? In this video, I'm going to be answering all of your questions about YG, things you didn't know. But firstly, make sure to watch this shorts video on YG that explains all of their sub-labels and everything that goes within YG basically. Getting straight into it, first question, do they recruit new trainees often? So as we all know, YG creates less groups because they don't really prioritize quantity, but they do prioritize quality when it comes to these new debuts. So as you'll be able to see, YG is quite small when it comes to how many idols they have within the entertainment. So yes, because they are debuting less groups and it's not that sudden, I guess, and even within this, they like to have more so less idols within their groups, so like Blackpink, I don't know, 2NE1, Big Bang. I mean, of course, Treasure is kind of an outlier because they did come from a survival show. They can't make a four-membered group out of a survival show. So generally, yes, they do recruit less trainees because they don't need that many trainees. We're kind of getting into the juicy stuff now. So the question is, does YG prefer boy groups over girl groups? So this is definitely a subjective point of view, but I do feel that YG does prefer boy groups over girl groups. If you just see the rate of how many girl groups are produced even within a decade, you'll be able to see that there's a lot less girl groups than boy groups. And even within these groups, they don't have as many comebacks like girl groups when compared to boy groups. They get more promotions and they definitely get more word out there rather than girl groups kind of trying to do their own individual activities and the company not really caring about the girl group as a whole. Now we're getting into the core of the video and what you guys might not really know about YG. So this question is an umbrella question to many different questions, but that is, why do so many of their projects fail? So for some context, YG makes a lot of different promises that they never actually fulfill to the public. They make a lot of statements saying, oh, we're gonna do this, and it actually never happens. So here are some examples of that showcases this kind of behavior from YG. So firstly would be 2NE1. When 2NE1 was kind of coming to a close, YG announced that they kind of gave up on 2NE1 quite frankly because they couldn't control one of the members. I mean, what did you guys expect? And then the second one involves Treasure. Now this one isn't that big of a deal because it's not that serious compared to the other ones, but YG promised that Treasure's Tarari, that's a B-side, would also have its separate promotion schedules, and they would also promote that song because it was trending on TikTok. And they promised the fans that would happen. However, it randomly got cancelled without any explanation. And then the third one is Blackpink. I'm sure we all know about this, but their comeback keeps getting delayed and delayed, and the time frame that's between these comebacks is actually crazy long, and it's seeming that they're more so like an individual model or an actress rather than idols themselves and a group. And then the fourth example, I'm sure some of you guys do know this, is Future 2NE1. So Future 2NE1 was a group that was supposed to debut back in 2016, kind of in replacement with Red Velvet, I almost say that, Blackpink. And the concept, a lot of people argue that it was quite weird because frankly they were trying to replace 2NE1 with these new girls, which isn't fair to either 2NE1 or these girls because 2NE1 is literally just being replaced with new generation, and these girls have really they want to have their own unique identity rather than being, oh, this is the Future CL, like, you know. Actually, you might know these girls from Future 2NE1, so it included Billy's Moonsua from S9's Soyeon, and then the soloist Yuha, and then the soloist Loya. She was also in Produce 48. But anyway, their comeback, or their debut, sorry, kept getting delayed and delayed to the point where basically all of the girls left YG and their debut was cancelled. Now, this is just an assumption that the girls left because it kept getting delayed. It could be from different reasons such as the lack of management, mistreatment, and things like that. And the fifth example is Mix 9. A lot of you guys might know this show for Luna or maybe Ryujin from ITZY, but this group, the debut final lineup, was a boy group, but it got cancelled because YG had a disagreement with the contract in terms of all of the dudes' contracts with the other companies, like the original companies that they belonged with, which really, it shouldn't be that big of a problem because previously they also had Produce 101, not YG, but like another obviously another group had produced 101 and their contracts worked out just fine. Although they did have a short period of time of promoting, they still worked out their contracts. So it's not something impossible to ask. However, YG couldn't handle that and they did cancel the final debut of the group. And the story goes on and on and on. If I were to fully talk about this, it would probably take more than 3 hours, so I'm not going to. And a lot of the rest of the information is probably not relevant to you guys, so I will not say this. So, the next question is, why does YG give their idols less comebacks than other groups? So as I kind of touched on previously, their promotion strategy is go big or go home. Their mindset is that long-awaited comebacks will keep the fans' anticipation rates up and they'll be more excited to see the new comeback. However, that's kind of taken a toll because it's a little too long now and anticipation just kind of turns into being tired. And YG believes that it's cheaper to produce less music but still earn the same income. Because during breaks, idols can do ads, acting, any of that stuff that requires less of a budget, but it still keeps that income rate up. And comebacks cost a lot of money. I'm sure you guys know this already. So YG really likes to limit that. Or you could just say, frankly, they don't care about them, but I feel like that's a little bit of a stretch. And another hypothesis is that fans will stream more, and it's easier to stream more when there's about 10 music videos you've got to stream. One more negative question, and we're on to more so positive ones. So the question is, how harsh is YG towards trainees? So definitely diets are quite important in YG. I know, like almost every big company cares about diets and cares about having a slim figure looking, ideal to the public. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but YG idols rarely ever get into scandals where it's like, oh, that idol looks a little overweight. If anything, it's about them being a little too underweight and fans being a little concerned for them, which draws to a conclusion that YG does care about your weight and you have to look slim in order to promote, in order to debut, in order to be a trainee. Now, a specific example of this would be T.O.P. or Top from Big Bang because he initially almost didn't make it into debuting because while he was in the debut lineup, YG pretty much just called him fat and he wasn't allowed to debut until he lost weight. So I think that tells you enough. And the next question is, does YG allow trainees or idols to attend school? So generally, YG doesn't really allow trainees or idols to actually go to school unless they're not that serious about them. So let's say this idol made it into the debut lineup, they are so close to debuting, they'll probably take them out of school because that's not their priority. Their priority is to train the best people, and school is kind of like a distraction from that, you could say. Now, of course, to any situation, there's always outliers. But the next question is, what does YG look for in idols? And I feel like this is pretty obvious because YG has their one distinct style, which is pretty much girl crush or bad boy kind of concept. Sorry, that gives me the ick, but you know what I'm saying, like those darker concepts, kind of more so powerful, that kind of thing. And so with this calls for more so idols with charisma and natural stage presence. And now this kind of connects to the next question, which is, does YG look for idols with confidence, charisma, and personal style over talent and visuals? Yes, most definitely. I would say that it's kind of similar to SM, but not really. Now, why it's kind of similar to SM is because that they also believe that talent can be learned and it can be made. So even if you're just lacking in one thing, they can learn that. They can teach you that. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen trainee days from YG idols, and they still have that charisma that they exude, even if they're just trainees, and they still have a personal style, even though it's not completely developed. Now, the question that everyone has been waiting for, does YG accept global trainees? Now, if you're talking about Koreans, like ethnically Koreans, but they live in other countries or they were born in other countries, that definitely counts. I'm sure that's not what the question originally asked for, though. A lot of people think YG is open to foreigners because, oh, Lisa is Thai. Perfect, there you go. However, she's literally the only non-Korean or non-Japanese idol in YG, which makes you think something, but that's about it. I feel like because she's popular, she's kind of like the face of YG, which definitely makes sense. However, she's really the only idol that's ethnically non-East Asian. Right now, actually, though, they do have a collaboration with a Thailand company in order to make a K-pop / Thailand pop group. So if you are interested in that, audition for it. They are making a boy group. So I wouldn't say that they're the most global company out there, but I wouldn't also say that they're the non-global company out there because it's a little hard to predict trends from YG because number one, the lack of groups that they have. And number two, they always pull spontaneous moves that you cannot predict, and I feel like sometimes they don't even know what they're doing. Now, the very last thing, if I were to rank the categories in terms of the most favorable category to the least favorable category, it would have to be, firstly, stage presence. Gosh, this one matters. Or sorry, stage presence. Yeah, this one matters a lot, guys. And then the next one would be vocal slash rap. I just kind of categorize that together because a lot of YG idols tend to do both vocals and rap. And then kind of down there would be dancing, and then below that would be visuals. So that's kind of like the rank, I would say. Let me know if you think differently, but I feel like that's a general idea. Maybe you could switch a few things around here and there, but that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Please wait for the JYP one as well. It's coming next week, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!